When my stomach hurts at midnight, my millionaire dad rushed in out of nowhere. You won't believe. It was the dark hour when shadows stretched across the wall, and the eerie silence felt thick like molasses. The clock ticked loudly, echoing in my room, each tick a reminder of my solitude. Then, suddenly, a wave of pain crashed through my stomach, twisting and turning like a wild animal trying to escape. I gasped, my breath hitching. What was this? Was it just the tacos I gobbled down earlier? As I clutched my belly, panic surged through my veins. Just then, the door flew open with a bang, and there he stood, my dad, the millionaire, eyes wide in terror. He rushed in like he'd just won the lottery and lost it in the same breath. Dad? I croaked, confusion mixed with fear. What was he doing here, looking so frantic? This man floated through life like a cloud, always untouchable. Yet tonight, he looked like a storm was brewing inside him, the creases on his forehead deepening as he surveyed my pale face. What's wrong with you? His voice was sharp, tinged with an urgency I'd never heard before. That I could feel his hot breath mix with the chill of the room, creating an atmosphere thick with tension. My heart raced as I struggled to meet his fierce gaze. This wasn't just fatherly concern, no, something far deeper churned beneath his surface. Something mysterious. You need to take me to the hospital. I pleaded, the fear bubbling inside me, squeezing my chest, and then, just as quickly, the tension lifted slightly. He took a step back, eyes scanning the room like a detective on a crime scene. No, there's no time for that. I can't let them find out. His voice hung in the air, full of dread yet bursting with a strange urgency that left my head spinning. Who were they, and what was he hiding? Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. I watched as he paced, the floor creaking softly under his expensive shoes, the fabric of his tailored suit whispering secrets under the strained silence. Just then, I spotted something shiny glinting beneath his sleeve. A bracelet? No, it was a watch, but not just any watch. It had a symbol I recognized from my history books, a badge of a secret society my dad joked about when I was younger. The fear inside me twisted again, a knot tightening across my stomach. What did he know that I didn't? Dad, what's happening? I whispered, my voice barely hanging on as uncertainty washed over me. Was there a world beyond the life we led, a world of dark secrets and shadows that flitted in the corners like flickering candlelight? He stopped, spine straightening, pain flickering across his handsome face, and for a moment, I thought I could reach him. But just then, a loud crash came from downstairs, cutting through the silence like a knife. My heart dropped. Was that what he feared? My dad turned to me, determination igniting in his eyes. You need to trust me, he said, his voice calm now, which felt far too calm for the chaos I sensed around us. We have to move right now. And with that, I felt my stomach twist again, not just from pain, but from the cold grip of fear creeping deeper into my bones. What was waiting for us outside? What secret had my life been hiding from me all along? The questions loomed, heavy and suffocating, as I took a shaky breath and nodded. But I couldn't shake the feeling that whatever lay ahead would change everything for better or worse. We raced down the hall, my heart pounding in time with my footsteps. The world outside felt like a nightmare, shadows whispering from the corners of our home. My dad grabbed my arm firmly, as if trying to anchor me in the midst of the chaos swirling around us. Stay close, and don't say a word, he urged, urgency threading through his voice like a taut wire. I nodded, though my stomach churned with more than just pain. What had he meant by they? I could barely fathom the thought of danger lurking outside my bedroom door, but the distant thuds coming from below were impossible to ignore. The hair on my arms stood on end, and a cold sweat began to form along my brow. We reached the staircase, and my dad motioned for me to stop just in time. Slowly, he peered down, tension crackling in the air like static electricity. I could feel his breath hitch as he scanned the darkened hall below, searching for any hint of movement. My mouth felt dry, the pain in my belly mingled with the dread growing inside me. "I don't see anything, for now," he whispered, gripping the banister tightly. "We need to keep moving." As we hurried down, the sound of footsteps echoed ominously from the street outside, heavy and deliberate. It was as though time slowed, each creak of the wood beneath our feet magnified in the silence. What were we about to face? I could feel the gravity of the moment pulling me closer to a truth I wasn't yet ready for. Finally, we emerged into the living room, its once welcoming warmth now cloaked in an air of foreboding. I barely got a glance at the space before my dad was already heading towards the floor-to-ceiling windows. "We need to find a way out," that they 1TC. A flash of movement caught my eye outside a dark car, stationed at the end of our driveway, engine running. My stomach sank deeper. Who was in that car? And why did it feel like the end of my normal life was lurking in its shadows? "Dad! There's someone out there." I could hardly contain my panic. His eyes blazed as he turned to me. "We don't have time for questions." He barked, but his voice softened almost immediately. "I'm sorry, but you have to trust me. We'll explain everything, just keep quiet." I nodded, terrified yet determined. This was not a game anymore. Something real was happening, and I needed to understand the truth, even if it scared me. That we slipped out the back door, the crisp night air biting at my skin. We crouched low, moving stealthily across the garden that felt like a wild jungle instead of the familiar comfort of home. Each breath was quick and shallow, almost as if we could get caught simply by anticipation. Just then, my dad froze. "We need to hurry," he hissed as he pulled me toward the fence. My mind was racing. Why was he so scared? What had I stumbled into? Just as we reached the corner of the fence, I heard the slow crunch of gravel beneath heavy boots. My eyes locked onto my dad's, my gut twisting in horror. "Go!" he shouted, shoving me ahead. I didn't think. I just ran, but a shout broke through the night like shattering glass. "Stop! Don't go any further." My heart raced, veins coursing with ice. I looked back, but my dad was already facing them, jaws clenched, a quiet storm boiling in his gaze. Who were they? For a second, time stood still, the air thick with uncertainty. He took a step towards them, a protective stance taking shape, but something deep in my gut screamed to turn and run. As I fled into the darkness, one thought pulsated through my mind: who was I running from? And what had my father done to put us in this nightmare? The questions clawed at me raw, but the answers might just be more dangerous than the silence surrounding us. My feet pounded against the ground, tearing through the darkness as I sprinted without a plan. Each beat of my heart felt like thunder, raw panic coursing through me. I had no idea where I was headed, but I knew I couldn't slow down. Behind me, voices shouted, but the words blurred into an unintelligible echo in my ears. Through the shadows of the trees, I caught glimpses of their forms, ominous and large, their flashlights cutting through the night like knives. I had to keep moving, had to escape whatever was hunting us. My legs burned, but I pushed on, darting away into the underbrush, hoping I could lose them, but then I heard a rustling sound, closer and more urgent than before. Fear clawed at my throat. Just as I turned my head, something cold and hard caught me across the shoulder, knocking me down to the ground. I gasped as the air left my lungs, my palms sinking into damp soil. A figure loomed above me, shrouded in darkness. "What are you doing?" they barked, voice echoing with authority. I froze, terror making it hard to breathe. It wasn't one of the figures chasing us. I knew that much. This person was different. They weren't here to hurt me. "Please," I stammered, struggling to rise. Get up. The voice softened as I looked up into the face of a woman, late 30s, sharp features and eyes full of intensity. There was something almost familiar about her. Your father sent me. The name struck me like a bolt out of the blue. My father. Where was he? What had he done to get us into this mess? He's back there. It doesn't matter. We need to go. Her tone snapped me into action. I scrambled to my feet, heart racing, arms shaking. She took my hand, pulling me away from the sound of the chaos behind us. I'm not asking again. Stay close. As we maneuvered through the trees, my mind was racing. Who was she? Why did she know my dad? The questions were overwhelming, but there was no time for answers now. We broke through the tree line and suddenly stood at the edge of an unlit road. The moon hung high, illuminating a stretch of pavement that wound away into the darkness. I heard the rumble of an engine and instinctively turned my head. A car's headlights pierced the night, speeding toward us. Get down. She yanked me to the ground just as the vehicle zoomed by, screeching to a halt a few feet away. The driver's door swung open, and a figure jumped out. What the hell is going on? Another man shouted, urgency etched into his face as he spotted us hunched in the shadows. Get her in. The woman commanded. Before I could ask who he was, two strong arms lifted me off the ground and hauled me toward the car. The world spun, confusion creeping back, mixing with an unshakable fear. Who were these people? What did they want with me? My dad's absence loomed larger than ever. No. Wait. My dad. Your father will be coming. She replied, her voice fierce. We just need to move before they find us. With a jolt, we slammed into the back seat, the door shutting with a decisive thud. The man behind the wheel revved the engine, and it roared in unison with my panic. Hold on. He shouted, slamming the car into gear. As we peeled away, the trees flew by, the darkness swallowing the road behind us. My mind whirled with fear and confusion, questions bursting like fireworks in my head. But one stood out, a chilling echo that wouldn't go away. What were they hiding from? And where was my father now? As the car sped off into the night, the tension in my chest twisted tighter, burdened with secrets yet to be uncovered. The car's tires screamed against the asphalt as we hurtled away from the chaos. The woman beside me, her eyes scanning the rearview mirror, looked more intense than ever. Did you see anything? She asked, her voice clipped with urgency that I shook my head, still trying to grasp the reality of the situation. No, I just heard them yelling. I was running, my breath came in shallow gasps. It felt like the world was spinning too fast. The man behind the wheel glanced back at us, his jaw clenched. We need a plan. They won't let up. They might already know we've left the site. He turned his focus back to the road, expertly weaving through the darkness. What's your name? Jess, I replied, my voice trembling. Jess. Okay, that helps. You need to trust us. We're not the enemy. His tone softened, a flicker of reassurance that evaporated almost as quickly as it came. But the people after you, they've got their eyes everywhere. As if on cue, the glow of headlights appeared in the distance, a telltale sign. Panic rose in my throat. How do they even know where we are? They always know. The woman's voice dropped lower, heavy with grim realization. They can track us like hunters following their prey. I pressed my back against the seat, fighting the surge of terror. You people are supposed to help me. Why doesn't my father just, I don't know, save us? Your father, she broke off, her expression hardening. Your father is doing what he can, but this is bigger than just him. This is about survival now. Survival. The word echoed, sinking in deeper, weighing down my thoughts. What had my dad gotten entangled with? A fierce light flashed, and I braced myself. The headlights of another car bore down on us, getting closer. I could sense the urgency building in the car like a palpable force, ready to explode at any moment. "Hit the gas!" the woman yelled. The man didn't need to be told twice. He slammed the accelerator, and the car lunged forward, the speedometer needle trembling as it climbed higher. The thud of my heart matched the rhythm of the engine. Outside, the world blurred. Trees morphed into streaks of shadow, the road flickered beneath us. I clutched the edge of my seat, the drive brutally jolting. I could barely catch my breath, my thoughts spiraling back to my father. Where was he? Suddenly, the car swerved violently as the vehicle behind us drew even closer. "They're gaining on us!" I cried, panic breaking through. "Hold on!" He turned sharply, but I felt us losing traction. An ominous rumble filled my ears, and I glanced in the side mirror. The car behind had multiplied, its lights like a pack of wolves circling in for the kill. "Fight back!" the woman shouted. "Don't let them trap us." Before I could process, she pulled a small silver object from her bag and pointed it at the back window. "Stay down." I dropped low, heart racing, as she pressed a button on the device. A blinding flash erupted from the rear, illuminating the trees in a harsh, otherworldly glow. I dared a glance back just in time to see the lead vehicle veer off course, engulfed by the light, crashing into the underbrush. But the others were still coming. Fresh adrenaline surged through me. "More are on the way." I gasped. "We can't keep this up for long." "Jess!" the man shouted, his voice urgent yet strained. "Stay with us. Think. Where can we go? Where's south your safest place?" My mind raced. It was hard to think with adrenaline screaming at the edges of my consciousness. I know a cabin deep in the woods, my dad took me there when I was little. It's hidden. Go there. He hollered. "Can you direct us?" I nodded, desperation clawing at my throat. "Yes, I'll try. Just keep going." But as we tore down the road, the reality sunk in harder than ever. They were relentless and our time was running out. Was my father even still out there to save me? The weight of that question sat heavy between us as we raced toward the uncertainty waiting ahead. And then it hit me, a sudden, aching feeling in the pit of my stomach. What if we made it to the cabin only to find it had become another trap? "Jess!" the woman's voice broke through my spiraling thoughts. "We need you to focus." As I opened my mouth to respond, a loud crash erupted nearby, sending a vibration through the car. They were coming for us, and this time, they wouldn't miss. "Jess! Where to now?" The man's shout pulled me from the spiraling darkness that threatened to swallow me whole. The cabin felt both like a sanctuary and a jail. "Quick, Jess!" "Right. Up ahead, I'll guide you." I gazed frantically out the thankfully narrow road that snaked through the woods, the trees looming like dark sentinels, witnesses to the chaos behind us. Faster. My heart raced as the sounds of pursuit grew louder, more violent. I could hear crashing branches and dirt kicked up in their wake. They were closing in, the night alive with the thumping bass of our fear. "Take a right up ahead." I pointed with shaky fingers. The man grunted, his hands tightening around the wheel, shifting the car to the right just in time. I breathed a small sigh of relief. "It's up there," I cried, fighting to keep my composure. "Past the clearing. Just past the old rock formation." "Jess!" The woman's voice had an urgency. "Get ready to jump." "Jump?" My stomach nodded. I glanced at the rear view just as the headlights cut through the trees in a wild flash. "Is jumping necessary?" "Trust me." There was no time for debate. My heart pounded in sync with the engine, a steady, haunting rhythm. I felt alive, yet utterly terrified. I wanted to scream, but I held it back, gathering myself. We burst into the clearing, and I spotted the cabin, dilapidated yet formidable against the dark backdrop of the forest. "There. That's it," I shouted, my voice shaky with anticipation and dread. "Everyone out." The man slammed the brakes, throwing us forward. The woman was already leaping out of the car before it fully stopped. I fumbled with the door, my legs shaking beneath me as I tumbled onto the ground. "Get inside. Hurry," she yelled, and I didn't hesitate that I darted toward the cabin, the wooden structure emerging like a ghost from the shadows. The door hung ajar. I rushed inside, pulling the door shut behind me with frantic force. The inside was dark, the air stale with the scent of old wood. "Is it just us?" I asked, breathless. The woman nodded, still on alert. "For now, yes. But they'll be here any second." I scanned the room, looking for a place to hide or a weapon, anything that would give me a fighting chance. My heart raced as I thought of my father. Had he ever come to this place? Did he even know I was gone? A sudden sound outside made me jump. Thorny branches scraped against the wall, and I could hear voices calling out, searching, relentless. "Stay low," the woman instructed, crouching beside the windowsill. The man was at the door, body tense and poised as if he could hold the world back alone. "Why can't we just leave?" I whispered, desperate to escape. The woman shot me a glance full of urgency. "It's not that simple. If they find us, they won't hesitate to kill. We need to outsmart them. They're predatory." The tension thickened, and I felt like the walls of the cabin were closing in. My breath quickened even more when I spotted a rusty old rifle propped in the corner. My heart dropped. Would it work? Would I even be able to use it? "Jess, we need your head in the game," the man said, glancing back at me, his face shadowed. "Are you ready?" I swallowed hard, feel the lump rise in my throat. "Ready for what?" "Ready to fight." His words hung in the air, hanging like smoke after a fire. The weight of my situation crashed upon me, a revelation meant to paralyze, but I'd be damned if I let it paralyze me now. Darkness thickened outside, trapping us in a cage of terror as the voices drew closer. "We need to prepare," I shot back, surprising even myself with the strength of my words. But then a chilling realization seized me. With every second passing, so many unknowns loomed. But what if they already know we're here? The door rattled. The hunt was closing in, but the real question smoldered inside me: was there a way out of this? Could we truly survive the depths of this night? And as my heart raced faster than the encroaching darkness, the answer felt just out of reach. The door rattled again, louder this time, splintering the silence with raw urgency. My heart thundered against my chest as the shadows outside shifted restlessly. Terror coursed through me, cold and paralyzing. "Jess, grab the rifle." The man's voice was sharp, a lifeline that snapped me into action. I stumbled toward the corner, my fingers trembling as they wrapped around the cold, rusty barrel. I felt the weight of it in my hands, heavy with dread and untested resolve. "Do you know how to use that?" The woman's eyes were fixed on me, scanning my face for any sign of confidence. "No," I admitted, panic bubbling up. "But I think I could figure it out. Just remember, aim for the center mass." "Don't hesitate," she replied, her gaze sharp, cutting through my uncertainty. Outside, the voices became clearer, now hushed, conspiratorial whispers layered with an unsettling glee. They spread like a shadow across the clearing. I could almost see their predatory grins, lurking just beyond the wall. The door rattled again, more forcefully. "Let us break this door down." A voice growled, and I felt a chill creep down my spine. "Get ready," the man commanded. He pressed his back against the door, bracing himself. "Count down, Jess. 3, 2, 1. Before I could even draw a breath, the door flew open with a sudden blast that sent the hinges screeching. It swung wildly inward, revealing silhouettes cloaked in darkness outside. The man surged forward, ready to confront whatever came next. "Run!" the woman shouted, grabbing my arm that we darted past the threshold, ducking beneath reaching hands. I felt my heart racing, fueled by adrenaline and primal fear. We tumbled into the night, the air thick and suffocating. "Into the woods!" the woman shouted. "They won't follow us far." I could barely see, but I followed her lead, the branches clawing at my arms as we plunged deeper into the thicket. The sounds of the cabin faded, replaced by the rustle of our feet against fallen leaves and the thudding pulse of my own breath. Suddenly, I heard a shout. "This way!" It wasn't just one voice, it was a chorus, echoing through the trees like a hellish chant. Panic gripped me, and I almost stumbled. "Keep moving. Don't look back," the man urged. We pushed further into the woods, but with each step, dread gnawed at me. What if they caught us? What if I didn't know how to fight or run? Terror clawed at my insides, twisting like a weighty snake. Could I really trust them? Were they allies, or would they betray me just like the night before? I pushed those thoughts away. Survival was all that mattered. After what felt like hours, we stopped, hidden behind a thick tree. The moonlight pierced through the canopy, casting eerie shadows around us. I could see their faces flushed, wild. "Are we safe?" I gasped, panting heavily. "For now," the woman replied, scanning the perimeter. "But we need to make a plan. They won't stop." I gripped the rifle tighter, feeling its cold metal against my skin. My heart was still thumping wildly, but I felt just a flicker of something else: resolve. "What's the plan then?" I demanded, surprising myself with the challenge in my voice. The man turned to me, solemn and fierce. "We take the fight to them. We'll turn the tables, Jess." That flicker ignited into a flame. "Let us do it," I said, breath steadying. "But why do they want us?" As we pushed deeper into strategy, an unexpected sound shattered the night: the crack of a twig behind us. And suddenly, the chase wasn't over what was lurking in those shadows. The sound reverberated like a warning shot, jolting me from my thoughts. My body froze, every muscle tensed, expecting something sinister to emerge from the darkness. "What was that?" I whispered, my voice barely audible over the pounding in my ears. The man's eyes narrowed, straining against the night as if he could peer through the shadows. "Stay close," he ordered, moving slightly ahead like a shield, "and cover your mouth." I couldn't shake off the feeling of being hunted. I glanced at the woman, her brow furrowed, lips pressed into a tight line. She looked like she was about to say something when another noise cut through the night. This time it was a low growl, distinctly animalistic, yet somehow warped, like it belonged to something both. "We need to go. Now." The woman hissed, urgency clawing at her tone. The man took us deeper into the trees, adrenaline surging as we ducked beneath branches. The growl morphed into a series of rustling sounds, branches snapping and claws scratching against bark. The feeling of being pursued slithered down my spine, crawling like a spider inching closer to my neck. "Keep running," he shouted, his voice breaking through the cacophony of noise behind us. We sprinted into a clearing, moonlight flooding the space. I stumbled, my foot catching on a tangle of roots, sending me sprawling forward. Amidst the chaos, the rifle slipped from my grip, landing with a dull thud. Fear gripped me like a vice, the world spun, gasping for breath. "Get up," the woman urged, her face etched with panic. She extended a hand. I grasped it, struggling to my feet, but hesitation clawed at my stomach. I hesitated to leave the rifle behind, knowing it might be my only chance at defense. But there was no time. Suddenly, a shadow moved in the underbrush, and the growl intensified. My eyes widened in horror as a figure emerged, a massive wolf, eyes gleaming with hunger. Instinctively, I froze. "Run, damn it!" the man yelled, pulling me forward as the woman darted past us. We didn't look back. The creature lunged with a terrifying speed, snapping its jaws just inches from my leg. We surged forward, terror propelling us, but the beast was relentless. Over there! The woman shouted, pointing to what appeared to be an old, abandoned shed at the edge of the clearing. With no other option, we dashed toward it, our footsteps pounding against the soft earth. Just as we reached the door, the wolf barreled into us, slamming me hard against the shed's rotting wood. "Get in!" the man barked, shoving me inside. The door creaked as I stumbled, half colliding with a stack of forgotten crates. "Is it safe?" My voice trembled. "I don't know," he admitted, glancing over the dilapidated walls. "But we have to fight. We can't let it in." The door rattled from outside, sharp claws scraping against the wood, a growl mixed with the sound of snarling teeth. Panic surged in my chest. What if it gets through? I stammered, feeling helpless. "We have to barricade the door," the woman said, darting toward the broken furniture. "Jess, help us." We pushed, pulling crates, bottles, anything we could find to seal ourselves in. But the beast was clawing harder now, its ferocity like thunderclaps against the door. Just as we finished barricading, silence stretched ominously. The only sound was my heart thudding. Had it gone? Then, a crash erupted. The makeshift barricade shuddered, and the door buckled. "Hold on tight!" the man shouted, eyes wild. But in a split second, with a force I couldn't predict, the door flew open, and the wolf lunged at us. What would we do now, facing down our worst nightmare? The wolf burst through the doorway, a fury of fur and teeth, snarling as it leaped inside. Time stretched as I registered the sheer size of the creature, its muscles rippled beneath its matted coat, resembling that of a nightmarish shadow-made flesh. Heart in my throat, I could barely process my surroundings, the dust motes in the air swirling like chaos around us. "Back! Back!" the man shouted, shoving me behind him. He reached for something in his waistband. Was it a weapon? A knife? I couldn't tell as the woman screamed and tried to shove furniture against the beast that lunged for the man, snapping its jaws inches from his throat. He sidestepped, ducking low, and swung something metallic at the creature. The wolf yelped, its snarl shifting to confusion, but it recovered quickly, spinning around to track him. "Jess, grab anything!" the woman urged, urgency seeping into every word. "We can't let it corner us." I fumbled through the debris, panic resting heavy on my chest, my fingers brushing against brittle glass and splintered wood. Fear fueled my movements as I lifted a broken chair leg, feeling the weight of my own desperation. "Come on!" the man roared, his voice echoing. The wolf turned its attention to him again, and I saw my chance. I launched forward, swinging the chair leg, praying it would make contact. The makeshift weapon cracked against the beast's side. It recoiled, letting out a yelp of surprise before roaring back, its eyes blazing with fury. My heart dropped. What had I done? The wolf focused its attention on me. Something primal in its gaze set every nerve on fire. I staggered backward, but before I could retreat further, the man shouted at me, "Keep it distracted. We need to distract it together." The woman moved, darting closer to the far side of the room, throwing items at the beast. A glass jar shattered against the wall, and the wolf snapped at the noise, its focus wavering. It lunged again, batting away pieces of furniture we had once thought would protect us. "Now!" the man yelled, and in one swift motion, he dove toward the wolf, grabbing at its legs to trip it. It was a reckless move, but my heart raced at its boldness that I saw my opening and moved in, swinging the broken chair leg again, this time catching the creature on its flank. It turned on me, teeth bared, and I felt the ground drop out from under me as I fell backward, adrenaline intermingled with a surge of despair. The man, leaping up from the floor, seized a metal pipe old and rusted, yet menacing in his grasp. His eyes burned with a determination I could only admire as he shouted, "Stay away from her." The wolf snarled, lunging toward us once more. As it charged, the woman threw herself in its path, brandishing a wooden beam like a sword. They collided with a thunderous crash. "Get back!" Get to the door. She screamed, fighting against the beast. My breath was shallow as I scrambled up, my body screaming at me to run, but I felt rooted to the spot. The man swung the pipe, connecting solidly against the wolf's snout. It jerked back, momentarily stunned, as I felt a flash of hope that perhaps we had a chance, but the beast wasn't done. It let out a low growl, gathering itself, its eyes narrowing as it turned its focus back on the woman, anger vibrating from its every muscles. Jess! Now! The man yelled that I ran. I stumbled past the chaos, my world narrowing down to that one goal, the door. I grasped the handle, breathless, fingers trembling as I tried to pull it open. But as I did, an earthquake of claws and speed followed me back. Would we escape, or would the darkness swallow us whole? The moment the door swung wide, chaos spilled into the night. I scarcely felt the gust of air against my face, only the primal instinct to survive propelled me forward. My heart thundered in my chest, matching the din of the wolf's furious growls behind me. I didn't glance back, afraid that a second of hesitation would mean my doom. What are you waiting for? The man shouted, his voice laced with panic. Get out! I surged through the threshold, stumbling outside into the darkness, breathless. The moon hung high, illuminating the street with an eerie glow. My body screamed for me to run, but I hesitated, catching my breath while casting frantic looks back at the door. The wolf's monstrous shadow darted past the threshold, packing with it a cloud of dread. The woman burst out behind it, narrowly avoiding the snapping jaws. Go! Run! She yelled, her courage pouring through the night like flames. The man followed, the metal pipe glinting under the moon, ready for another onslaught. I watched him, his feature twisted with determination as he turned on his heels, launching the pipe with all his might towards the charging beast. The clang of metal against stone felt like a lifeline tossed into a storm. But the wolf was relentless, it shook off the impact, and anger contorted its face as it bore down on us again. Get to the car! I shouted, my voice rising in desperation that we sprinted toward a battered old sedan parked a few feet away. The familiar outline felt like salvation. I fumbled with the door handle, my fingers slick with sweat. The world was closing in, but I forced myself to focus, praying the lock would yield as the wolf lunged for us again. Come on! Unlock! The metal was cold, the handle stubborn beneath my trembling fingers. I finally heard it, the satisfying sound of the click. I yanked the door open and dove inside, with panic sending my heart leaping up to my throat again. The man was still fighting. He swung the pipe wildly, but the wolf was out for blood. It circled him fast, predatory, and with an unnerving intelligence. The woman shouted, frantic, get in now. Desperation rang in her voice as she climbed into the back seat behind me. Now! Now! As the man ducked and weaved, I saw his brow glisten with sweat, his jaw set tight. It was a fight he might not win, and every second felt like an eternity. I screamed at him from the confines of the car, get in. The wolf lunged again, snapping at his heels, but he pivoted, throwing himself into the front seat, slamming the door just before massive jaws clamped down on the spot he'd just vacated. My heart raced as he shouted, go. Now. Just as I turned the key in the ignition, the choking sound of the engine sputtered. I pressed down harder, praying for it to roar to life. The wolf clawed at the passenger window, its breath fogging the glass. Its malicious eyes bore into me while I willed the engine into action. Come on, come on. Finally, as if hearing my desperate plea, the engine revved loudly. The tires squealed as I put the pedal to the metal, and we shot down the street, the wolf giving a furious chase behind us. Then, up ahead, I saw it, a dark figure in the distance, blurred and looming above us. I squinted, the familiarity gnawing at me, but even in my panic, something about it didn't feel right. What is that? I murmured, dread creeping back into my chest, but the wolf was not done. It raced after us, relentless and furious, an enduring nightmare on our heels. Just beyond the anticipated shadow sat something greater than the creature itself, hidden in that darkness. My pulse quickened. What awaited us was far more terrifying than what we were escaping. Was this nightmare only beginning? The headlights cut through the darkness, illuminating the shadowy figure as we sped toward it. My heart pounded, and fear gnawed at me as we approached an old, rusted pickup truck parked crookedly on the side of the road. But something clicked inside me when I recognized the vehicle. My father's truck. Jess. Is it your dad? The woman shouted above the roar of the engine, urgency threading her voice. Yes. I screamed, almost leaping from my seat. Before I could finish my thought, the pickup door swung open, and my father emerged, face taut with worry. Relief surged through me like a spring rain, washing away layers of dread. Jess, he yelled, his voice breaking as he sprinted toward us, his arms outstretched. Dad! I cried, the word pouring out in a flood of emotion. The wolf behind us growled menacingly. Go! Get in! The man in the passenger seat yelled, jabbing at the door, a panic-fueled urgency in his tone. With all the force I could muster, I flung the door open and jumped out, arms wrapping around my father as he engulfed me in a desperate embrace. Here, in the fierce grip of his arms, I felt the fragmented pieces of my fear begin to stitch together, if only for a moment. I thought I'd lost you. He murmured, his grip tightening. Dad, we need to move. I said, pointing toward the wolf that was now almost upon us, teeth bared, eyes glimmering like dark coals. My father spun toward the creature, a mix of resolve and panic etched on his face. Get in the truck. He commanded firmly, urging the man and woman to try the same. As we scrambled into the truck, my father reached for something in his waistband. My breath caught again, bracing for the worst, but it was only his firearm, gripped tightly with knuckles white from effort. He quickly glanced out the window, the wolf thrashing closer with relentless fury. Hang on! He shouted as he threw the truck into gear, the tires screaming against the asphalt as he careened away from the danger. My heart slammed in my chest, a frantic rhythm as we sped away, leaving the chaos behind. Where are we going? I gasped, adrenaline still coursing through me. To a safe place. There's something you need to know. His voice had shifted, the calm of authority emerging alongside the fear. What about them? I pointed back where the wolf hadn't retreated, its menacing figure slipping into the shadows. They won't be able to follow us, he said, a tightness in his chest releasing just a bit as we turned onto an overgrown road. The woman in the back seat turned to my father. We're thankful you made it. Jess could have been enough. He interrupted, his tone harsh but relieved. This isn't over yet. They'll come after us again. I clasped my hands in my lap, trying to quell the mix of fear and confusion. Who are they? He took a deep breath, exhaling slowly as if squeezing out an anchor he had held through years. I'll explain everything. But first, you have to trust me. My heart sank like a stone. Trust, after all this? I know. But we don't have a choice. He locked eyes with me in the rearview mirror, revealing the vulnerability of the man I'd always looked up to. You're part of this too, Jess. There are things you don't know, secrets I kept to protect you. But we're in this together now. As we continued down the dirt road, an eerie calm began to settle between us. I felt the weight of his words deep in my soul. I might not understand the depth of what had happened, but I knew fear wouldn't paralyze me any longer. Where are we headed? I asked, my voice still shaky. To a place where you will finally understand, he replied, determination entering his tone. And where we can figure out how to fight back. Fight back. I felt a flicker of hope igniting within, daring to push against the dark shadow that lingered. Yes. We have what it takes to take them down. The truth and our past might just give us the advantage. A sense of purpose surged through me. In that moment, I wasn't just the scared girl from before. I was becoming part of something much bigger than myself. As we rolled onward, shadows danced around us in the fading twilight. We weren't just fleeing. We were racing toward a confrontation, into a future that held both risk and realization. It was time to embrace who I truly was, to confront the shadows that had haunted me, and to understand the secrets my father had kept hidden for so long. Together, we would finally uncover the truth. And as relief mingled with the faint glow of dawn creeping over the horizon, I felt hope forming anew. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm and show your love for this journey. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about what just went down. Instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion, because you need to be a part of this community. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second to share.